Hi, everyone, and welcome to our part 2 of how to start a nonprofit organization. For those who are new to my channel, welcome very much. My name is Lucy Njue, and my mission is to help founders and professionals working for nonprofits to attract and retain donors by equipping them with grant writing skills and simple, easy to use, and affordable fundraising resources to help you grow your organization and transform more lives. So, as usual, I start with the famous quote that I love so much, that the secret to getting ahead is getting started. Just to ask you to stop overthinking it, just start. If you are really interested in starting your NGO, there's nothing much to wait for. Trust me, with the resources that you have, if you're very passionate, you have means, you can actually start. Okay, so I noted in the last session, I did not explain, or I did not give the definition of a nonprofit or not-for-profit organization, and I think that is important. So allow me to just share that briefly. A not-for-profit organization is a broad term for all independent organizations whose purpose is something else other than to make a profit for directors, members, or shareholders. So if you're starting an organization, and your purpose is not to make profits, like companies. So then if you're not your purpose is not to make profit, then you qualify to be referred to as a non-profit. And like I shared in the last video, there are different types of non-profit organizations that you can register. We looked at CBOs, NGOs, I remember there's a long list that I shared with you. And so today I'm going to be focusing on the community-based organizations. And community-based organizations, and this is specifically in Kenya, they are registered by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. And these are the key features of our CBO. The key feature number one is that they're driven by community residents in all aspects of their existence. As the name suggests, this is something that is owned by community. It is not owned by one person. And every activity, everything that you do, as long as it's a CBO, then it is governed and it is managed by the community or the residents of a certain community. The governing body and the staff consists of local residents. So the local people, they come together, and what happens is that you form a committee, of course, with identified officials, and you can be as many as you wish to be, and you become a committee that you form, and you run the community activities. The offices usually are within the community, so you have to identify, when you're doing the application, you are required to identify your offices. And usually the application is done actually at the sub-county level, because this is a community-based activity. Actually, for CBOs, you only run within, you cannot be operating a CBO, in different counties. It has to be confined to one county. So yes, the operating offices have to be in the community, and the priority issues that you're going to be addressing have to be defined by the residents. Of course, there's always a vision carrier. There's one person who comes up with the idea, and then what you need to do, if it's you feel you have this burden and you want to do something, then what you need to do is to rally the community, sell the idea to them, can bring in you could start even as 10 people or so, sell your idea to the community, and they have to be residents of this community affected by the problem as well. And then you can start, the CBO together. The solutions to address the priority issues are developed with the residents. Yes, so you have to involve the community a lot. You come together, call barazas, call people, let them participate, let them, raise the priority issues that they want to address. And of course, they are involved in terms of coming up with programs, the program designing, implementation, evaluation, and everything. All the components, you have to involve the community and even the community leaders. So it's really a community, activity. And for you to register a CBO, these are the requirements or the steps that you need to take. Step number one, you need to organize yourself in a group. to form a community-based organization. So this could either be individuals or it could be even community groups. If you go to the communities, you find their support groups to, different support groups. So you could maybe decide 2 or 3 support groups could come together and decide now it's time for us to grow and become a CBO, especially if they have been maybe involved in similar activities. So maybe you belong to the same sub-county, in different ones, you have different groups. These groups could come together and decide we are going to be working together. And maybe they had, if, for example, they have been doing a water project, then they can decide now we are going to operate as a CBO, focusing on water project. The other thing is that you need to draft a CBO's constitution. There are drafts available, but basically the constitution is what is going to be guiding you. What is your focus areas? What do you want to achieve? What is your vision? What is your mission? What are your objectives? So simple constitution needs to be drafted by the community member, of course, with the involvement of the community members, to identify your priority issues and how you're going to address them. Then you must hold a meeting where you elect the officials. So maybe you've arranged several groups, you've come together, maybe there are 30 or 40 members. Then those members need to sit together and elect your officials who are going to be the office bearers. So at least you need the chairman, you need the secretary and the treasurer. And this is for accountability purposes. And of course, for any organization, you need leadership. You need someone, a group of people who are providing the leadership, otherwise you become very disorganized. So that is the purpose. As a team, come together. And so what I see happening, the vision bearers, most of the time, they end up being the secretary to the group. So you find yourself being the person who is in charge of writing minutes and, of course, steering the group forward. But I didn't say you have to be the secretary. Others, I find them being the chairperson of the CBOs. But whichever position you take you need to be in them, among the officials as a vision bearer as well. Another thing is now you need to present your application to the for registration purposes to the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. And as I said, you do it at the sub-county level, and you can also do it at the Huduma Center where you fill in the form. And the form has very basic information, by the way. You need, I think, I'll share with you the form, but basically very basic information where your offices are located, what is your priority issues that you want to address. Of course, you're going to be asked how you're going to raise funds to do your activities, and other contact details, a list of the members of this CBO, all that will be required. Then you need to pay an application fee or processing fee of Kenya shillings 5,000, and then within 5 days, you will have received your certificate. So basically, these are the registration requirements, what you need to have in mind, just a summary. When you're submitting your application, you need to make sure that you have minutes of the meeting, seeking registration and showing elected officials must be attached to the application form. So you need to have your minutes, because we are assuming this is a community, a community group. So when you come together, when you have your meetings, you need to have the minutes written. And specifically, the minutes for application must demonstrate that there was a meeting which there were community members sat down and agreed to register a CBO. That's basically what it means. So in the minutes, you should be able to show that agenda and how it was discussed and agreed that we will be registering a CBO. The other thing that needs to be there is the list of members who are duly elected to be in the different positions. So you need to show their names, their positions, their ID numbers, their signatures, and all that attached within the application form. Actually, list of all members must be there. Then the application, again, as I said, must be accompanied by the CBO's bylaws or the rules of the constitution. And then again, it also must be accompanied by a memorandum of understanding. In the event, it was the CBO is formed by different groups. So if you have different groups, because every group has its own maybe rules, their own constitution, and especially if they are registered groups in the community, most of these things people have, or most of these groups have registration documents as well. So there needs therefore to be an MOU, showing that we have agreed to come together and to form this CBO. And of course, you need to show that you have made your payment of Kenya shillings, 5,000 shillings. And basically, a lot of this information is actually available on the website. So anytime you go to their website, I need to check which exact website, but I think it's along the way. I'll show it. I'll make sure it is in the notes. I'll write for you the link where you can get all this information. But after registration, you need to renew your certificate annually. You need to remember that it's an annual certificate. You need to submit your quarterly progress reports to the registering authority. So whichever office you went to get the registration, then you need to make sure that you submit the reports as well. And of course, the registering authority, in this case, the Ministry of Labor, they have the authority to come in and go through your records. At any particular time, they can request you to submit a certain report. So yeah, you should be able to allow them to access your documents. And they say that failure to adhere to all these above requirements will result to being non-registered or deregistration. So make sure you follow the rules of the CBOs. Yes, the form is accessible on this link on the social protection website, but I'm going to be putting an active link down below for you to be able to easily access it. So I would just like to quickly share with you or show you how the CBO registration form looks like. And as I said, it's available on the social protection website, as you can see from here. So pretty easy, simple form. Section 1 is the basic information of the community-based organization. So they want to know the name of the organization, or basically the name you have given it. And then if it's a matter, like I mentioned, of groups, maybe registered groups, then you write the registration numbers of these various groups. Then, of course, they say if there are more than 2 groups, you can attach a separate list. You need to provide details of where your area of coverage, and like I mentioned, it cannot be more than 1 county because this is a community-based organization. So you give the details of the division, the location, the sublocation, and all the other, your website if applicable, email. But remember, we said nowadays we cannot work without digital presence. The other question you need to respond to is who mobilized your members to seek official registration. So if you are the one seeking this registration, you need to respond who actually mobilized the rest of the members. Is it you is it an individual? That is you is it a chief? Is it a ministry staff? Is it maybe another registered CBO that is helping you to register this particular CBO? Is it an NGO? So you need to answer that. Then you need to state, remember we said meetings, the minutes of the meetings are required at application stage. So you need to show when the meeting happened, where, and the time, and then the membership. So they want to know the number of members at the time of registration. And you can see segregation by gender, either male or female. If there are any number of persons with disabilities who are part of this CBO or membership of the CBO, the number of young people or the youth 18 to 35 years, and the number of older persons. So you provide that breakdown. And then other aspect is the management committee. When the elections were done, the date when they were done, and who supervised the elections, because someone has to be supervised. And who are the elected members? The chairperson, the secretary, and the treasurer. At least those ones must be there. And of course, at times you want to have the vice or the people supporting, these key officials when they are not in absentia, and other members, and you are told to attach a separate list of all other members. I don't think there's a limitation as to how many people can form a CBO. I have researched, I have not come across such a limitation. In case there is, please let me know. Then you need to have thought through to your CBO project objectives. Remember when I was talking about even before you register, you need to know what is the need, what are your strategies, what are your priorities. Yeah, so this is why it is important for you to know your objectives and your activities. What activities are you focusing on? So you need to tick that. And then they ask you to list the 3 main activities. Yeah, so this is why it is important to have thought through exactly what you intend to do and then your future plan. So you may say, these are my activities right now. Maybe right now we are just starting by training, empowering women or forming support groups. But in future, we want to build maybe a rental building, or, you can actually talk about your future plans. And then assistance from the government, you need to declare if you have received any kind of assistance in the past from the government, whether it's financial, technical, or material, and who exactly provided this assistance. And the million-dollar question that I always ask, how do you intend to fund your activities? A critical question there, is it through member contributions? Is it a loan, which is not very advisable for CBO? Is it through donations? Is it through grants? So basically, you have to think exactly how you will fundraise for your activities. Other thing is the applicant signatures, or the chairperson, the secretary, and the treasurer have to sign this form, in short. And I think that is it. Yes, that is it about all this. The rest is for official use. And I hope you find this useful, and that if you're interested in forming a CBO, you realize it's something that you can do. It's not something that is so, difficult. And as always, before I end, for those who would want to learn so much more about the basics of fundraising, I have written a book where I share in details some of the simple steps that you can take to kickstart your fundraising journey. I just want to encourage you. There are some things that you are struggling with that can easily be answered by this book. It goes for Kenya shillings 500 only. So please take your copy and get started. And I will also be sharing the link where you can easily get the copy. And for those who would want to learn so much more about how to write award-winning proposals, I have a detailed program, self-paced online program, where you can, where we get to learn about the different components of a proposal, and most importantly, how to develop them, the language to use, what is attractive to the donors, and all that. And so, yeah, for more, you can check out my website, www.lucynjoy.com. Thank you very much for staying with me and for your time. I do appreciate a lot.